you choose who you embody in that day. Are you
Yeah.
coming as an angel? Are you coming as a demon? Are you coming as a god? Or are you coming as a Satan?
Yeah.
When I see it come like this,
Yeah.
I'm like, get behind me, Satan. Literally.
God. Every man is God.
The sapiosexual platter.
Would you ever say thank you to your abuser, to the person that insulted you, to the person that hurt you? Plot twist, what if those are actually angels disguised as demons? In today's episode, we are delving into the paradox of dealing with the people we deem bad in our lives. Is every man God? My name is Shatani Somalakai.
And I am Bel Saabo Ame.
And you are watching the Sapiosexual Platter.
Yes, when I'm Madam Preacher.
Did I sound like a preacher?
No, you didn't. I just meant you flow. I was about to say you flew. But the flow was like that of a very good preacher.
Oh, thank you. I need this, guys. I'm recovering from I don't even know what flu that was.
Oh, yeah, thank God. That was actually flow, you know.
Oh, thank you. That you made this, right?
Yeah, that was actually
Thank you.
flow. So what happened?
What, with the flu?
No. Who triggered you? Who triggered you? Why today's conversation? Why are we having this conversation?
You know what? I just feel like we place a lot of weight on people who hurt us.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And they become these subjects of our lives that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Day in, day out.
Yeah.
10 years later, we're still talking about that guy that insulted you, that person that hurt you.
Yeah.
And there's a point where I'm like, is Judas in heaven? Like, I think Judas is in heaven, guys.
Judas is who? The one who betrayed God?
Yeah, the one who betrayed Jesus. Yeah.
Ah.
Because I feel like he fulfilled a purpose that was necessary for Christ's crucifixion and ultimately resurrection. Do you get what I mean?
Powerful, yeah.
And so can you hate him really? Because how else would the story have gone? And would the story have been as powerful were it not for the betrayal?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or even, was it Peter who denied Jesus three times? You know, and then people often say that he's the was it the cornerstone that Christ built his church. So it's just recognizing that in the relationship, in man's walk of life, there are people who are instrumental in it. And those people are going to be the people that hurt you, that are the thorn in your flesh. And what do we categorize them as? Are they angels or are they demons? Are they sheep or are they wolves? You know, yeah. What do you think?
I feel like the conversation is done.
Okay.
I don't know. Instinctively, I'm like, guys, you heard it here.
I am Shatani Somalakai.
I am Belsaba Ame. Okay. I feel this is such a complex conversation. Because when we thought about it, it was that every man is God. And I like what you're saying because, yeah, people tend to have a lot of power over us when they inflict pain in us. And instead of us just asking ourselves, like, what is the spiritual significance of what has taken place? We then distract ourselves with the person who inflicted a lesson upon us.
Okay, maybe let's stop there.
Yeah.
Because you've already kind of said a lesson, but haven't really explained it.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about how, people are in our lives to teach us lessons. So maybe unpack that. Like, is that your understanding of why people come into our lives?
I think it's a part of it. I don't think completely people come into our lives to only impact lessons. I think other people are there to be shepherds to your purpose and to accelerate you to or ascend you to where you're meant to be. And then some people just come into your life to serve as a distraction, so that the universe can really test how focused and how much clarity you have. But then there is a huge aspect of it that every person comes into your life to teach you something. But I don't think it's more the person that comes to teach you. I think the lesson appears.
Right.
And because we are humans and we interact with other humans and we build attachment to different humans and we place them in different psychological states within our minds, they then have to be the vessel that enacts the teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
Every man is your teacher.
Expand. Every man is God.
Teach the people.
Every man is your teacher. Yeah, I think we came across this concept maybe 4 years ago, maybe. And it was during a time when I met a very interesting character in my life.
Who was that?
The roses,
Oh my God. Yo, that one was a demon.
So, this is so fascinating and it's so funny. If I meet this person today, I laugh and I have nothing but love for this person.
Yeah.
Because I believe that they came into my life to show me how my esteem was just in the gutter at the time. And their treatment of me and my acceptance of that treatment showed me that, whoa, Shatani, like, you haven't quite figured things out. You know what I mean?
That was a scary time. That was
like
a scary time.
You still don't, you're still a little girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the day that I zoned out of it and just woke up to my power and myself, this person no longer tormented me or had space in my being or space in my mind.
Yeah.
And now, for all the crazy drama that took place at the time, I look back at it and I laugh.
Yeah.
And I can really call that person God because I'm like, wow, you really came. And were it not for that experience and for you, I don't think I would have grown in consciousness the way that I did, but for that experience. Yeah.
I think for me, it's a complex one because it's like, how do you balance the spirit and the flesh? Like, how do you balance every man is God? And then how do you hold people accountable to the character that they assume in this life? Take, for example, Hitler.
Yeah.
I used to have arguments with my dad and I'll be like, Hitler is God.
Yeah.
And what Hitler did took place and God allowed it.
Yeah.
Because Hitler was God.
Yeah.
And he was so angry. He was like, you can't say that. You can't say that. And I was like, it was like Hitler was evil. I was like, no, Hitler was good.
Yeah.
He was fighting for a good cause in his perspective.
Yeah.
And with this concept that we're sharing today, what you're basically saying is to just be like,
I mean, am I saying that?
Well, the implication, if I'm to infer implication. It's
right.
Hitler killed people the way that he did, the Holocaust, but every man is God and they're enacting a lesson. So how does then one balance the accountability and the spiritual lesson of it all? Because you make reference to your experience and I've seen you laugh at it.
Yeah.
And be like, ha ha ha, that was once a time.
Yeah.
Mind you, I don't even find it funny. It's funny. I'm just like, I'm happy for the lessons that came, but that person should stay right back there. Honestly. And I'm like, peace and love to the person, but just still stay down there. We got the lesson, but still stay down there. So how does one balance that? Because I think the paradox of what you feel in the flesh and what you experience in the flesh, and also having to draw back to the spirit and saying, but this is a spiritual lesson,
Yeah.
and I need to see the lesson in it all.
Yeah.
Notwithstanding
Yeah.
what happened in the flesh happened. So how do you draw balance with that? Because the complexity currently is people get sucked and stuck in the flesh aspect of it all.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be like, notwithstanding what Hitler did, he's God.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people are going to watch this and be
like,
triggered.
yeah. Yeah, no, I think they're going to probably ask for a part 2 of this conversation because, I mean, yeah, it takes a while to actually understand the concept.
Yeah.
But I think it's just understanding, like, what is freedom, true freedom.
Before we understand what is true freedom,
Yeah.
why is this philosophy important?
Yeah, so I guess to answer the question is to say, we're talking about how people are dragged down because, you know, a trigger moment isn't fun, you know? And when you're constantly triggered, there's a power that's taken away from you, you know, and it's exhausting. You know, that girlfriend who's talking about the guy that dumped her, that cheated on her 5 years ago. And a part of you is like, yeah, that was really bad. That sucked. But why are we still talking about this 5 years later?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why are we still hopping on this? Have you not moved on with your life? Have you not started other projects? Are there not other guys that like you? Why are we talking about the guy that cheated on you 5 years ago, 5 years later?
Yeah.
You know? And so it's just realizing that, you know, when you continuously hold that person in that frequency, you stay in that frequency.
Yeah.
And it's not a great frequency. It's not a good frequency for manifestation. It's not a great frequency for, you know, just general joy in your life.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I wanted us to explore, like, what's true freedom. If I'm sitting here and I'm laughing at something that happened in the past, I feel for me like that's real freedom. It's like that thing has absolutely no hold on me. It's I'm neutral within myself. And I could really talk about it from a place of just experience and teach a lesson. Say, girls, next time they be sending you loads of flowers and love bombing you, just know it might be a trap. You know what I'm saying? And really laugh about it, like truthfully laugh about it, free from it. And I think it's just nicer to learn from people like that. And it's just nicer to be in that state. So I think for me, it's that. But it's not to say that that person isn't experiencing the consequences of their actions. Because again, as far as vengeance is concerned, that's the preserve of God, right? And it doesn't mean that you don't draw your boundaries. Like, you've drawn boundaries, you see that person over there, you know, I don't talk to them, you know? So I've drawn my boundaries and I've decided like that your energy, my energy, we don't mix. And so there's a consequence of now there's separation between the two of us, you know? And so it's not to say there's no consequences, but in those consequences, you've really moved on and you're really happy. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I think happiness is a constant. Joy is a constant. Because I think people...
or freedom.
People emotionally regulate in different ways.
Right.
I can be neutral in myself, but have clarity. It's like not laughing about it doesn't mean I'm holding on to it. But having a clarity about it is the lesson. When I see it come like this, I'm like, get behind me, Satan.
God, every man is God.
Get behind me, Satan. Because every man is God. But when I say get behind me, Satan, I'm also drawing reference to the angel demon paradox that you shared.
100%.
Because we have God in us, and some people would say it's the flip side of the same coin. You choose who you embody in that day. Are you coming as an angel? Are you coming as a demon? Are you coming as a God? Or are you coming as a Satan? You know, so certain things, you could laugh about it and it's okay. Other people's coping mechanism is, for me, just clarity.
It's just clarity.
Like, there's no charge to it. But I've learnt the lesson. And I think even when it comes to like people pleasing, there's an element of that where you go through abuse, and you can look back at it and be like, yeah,
That was wild.
that was wild. I walked that part. There's pain there for sure. And you may have dealt with the pain and let it go, but you just have higher awareness of this is what I want of my life and this is what I don't want of my life. And I think people come to reveal that as well. When you have different people who come with different experiences, instead of like putting so much weight into it, you can just be like, okay, this is God trying to filter and show me what experiences I'm meant to have more of in this life.
Yeah.
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 But I want us to really get in deep into why every man is God.
Do you want to try?
Do I want to try? I'm always game to try.
I want to hear your perspective first, actually. Why is every man God?
For those who believe in God or a maker out there, we tend to project this maker to some sky,
Yeah, like a presence in the sky.
a presence in the sky, or in outer space.
Yeah.
So it's like, as human beings, we tend to separate God from ourselves.
Yeah.
And in evolving spiritually, where you go through your phase in life where there's a point where you want to know God, you want to understand God. And then for some, they realize that, oh, actually, everything is God.
Yeah.
The plants, the animals, the planets, everything,
The people.
the people,
Yeah.
it's all particles of God, because God created everything. And what does he create everything from?
Himself.
From himself, I would
Yeah.
like to believe.
Yeah.
And then the Bible, for those who believe in Christianity, would say we're made in the image of God, or
Yeah.
we are children of God. So a child of a God is what?
Is God.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
a child of a human is a human.
Yeah.
So which makes human beings God, and basically that the Holy Spirit dwells in us. The Bible would say we are the temple of God. So that means if we're the temple of God, God is in us, right? Now, when you're experiencing all these different people who come and impact pains and lessons upon your life, it's like you have to allow the flesh to experience it. But at some point, you have to draw back and be like, oh, just as much as I have the Holy Spirit in me,
Yeah.
this person does too.
Yeah.
So that makes what that person is what I am as well. Just different in casing, I guess.
Yeah.
And how it's articulated in this world. It's very complex, because then it's hard to make sense of the pain that is inflicted by God onto the other God.
Yeah.
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 I don't know what you're doing.
I mean, no, I agree with you,
Yeah.
because it is complex, you know?
I'm like, you want me to go
know
on?
what?
I'm done.
Do you know what? It's like, I really like this topic, but now I'm just realizing how complex it is.
So complex.
But I think it's sometimes it's like drawing to the double standard,
Okay.
because when we're in pain, we forget that we also have at some point inflicted pain on another person. You know?
That's powerful.
And for me, I still want people to recognize the good in me, even though that I know that there's a dark in me that, peeps out every now and then, And so it's like, if I can believe that of myself, that I am inherently maybe a good person, then surely I can extend the same to another person.
Yeah.
And in my disbelief of, I can't believe you went that far, to be like, I don't get it, but if I were in your shoes, maybe I would. I think it's a concept that's meant to extend or expand our level of empathy and our level of understanding of human experiences. And it's often that once you start to unpack people's lives, when they unpack all these people who have done atrocious things, and you unpack where this person came from, the experiences they went through. For most of them, I know some are like, random cases where somebody grew up well and they end up being a serial killer. But for the most part, you realize like, wow, this person went through a lot of, pain.
Yeah.
And in being unable to resolve the pain, they inflict pain on others.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so then you realize like, oh wow, maybe if I was in their shoes, I probably would have done the same thing. So maybe the pain that they inflicted on me isn't as, like it's you don't make it so big.
Yeah.
Because you're like, if that's your paradigm, that's all you know how to do, then it wasn't even personal what you did to me. It wasn't even personal, you just did what you knew how to do and how to live. And so God bless you. Every man is God.
So that's the physical aspect of
Yeah.
it, right? Because what you're saying is that somebody would have gone through experiences that have conditioned them to behave a certain way.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's to behave in the negative way that inflicts pain on people.
Yeah.
That's the physical realm. So now, with the same example that you're giving, let's take it to the spirit. When God decides that Shatangi Somalekai is going to enter into this world,
Yeah.
and Shatangi is going to inflict pain on Thabo,
Yeah.
why is God deciding that an aspect of himself is going to come down onto this earth
Yeah.
and inflict pain on the other person? And when I sit down and because God is so complex, and I just wonder, like, okay, every man is God. So God chose this to happen. And it's so hard to wrap your head around it. And for me, what I've used as a tool of understanding is to just be like, God wanted to have many different experiences in this world.
Yeah.
God wanted to have an experience where he was a saint, where he was a prostitute, where he was a thief.
Yeah.
And it's so hard for the human mind to comprehend, but why?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure other people are going to watch this and be
say,
like,
seriously?
Yeah.
Seriously?
And be like, it's the devil. And
Yeah.
it's just like, but who's the maker of the devil? And
Yeah.
who was the devil made in the image of?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
it's
discussed
gonna-
this. You can go back to our previous
Does the devil
podcast, Does the
exist?
Devil Exist?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so for me, it's just like, wow, God just wants to be a man who gaslights women and sends them flowers, and it's just, it's just wild, And I'll be like, stand over there, God.
And it's cool.
And it's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the God in me also, if
Yeah.
I say stand over there, God, wanted
Yeah.
to come down onto this earth and have an experience of a friend who met a person who was like that.
It's like, just get behind me, please.
Yeah.
Like, let's just move on with this. Let's just move on.
But then how do people then regulate this knowing of every man is God? Because it's so easy to be like, well, I'm God, so I'm going to do you harm. I can decide what I want to do as a God and do whatever.
Yeah, I think it's up to God, being yourself, like what kind of experience you want to have on the earth.
Yeah.
And remembering that there's laws of the earth, and what goes around comes around, and based on that knowing, that's how you kind of move through life. If you know that you inflict pain, at some point pain will be inflicted upon you. If you do certain things, I don't know, the comeback is obvious, so it's not a knowledge that you use to overpower other people. I think it's a knowledge you use to neutralize yourself when things happen to you, instead of staying in that rut forever. You can quickly move out of that bubble of pain or that bubble of stagnancy and move on to the next one to say, oh, every man is God. That wasn't personal. Thank you, God. But this type of God right now in this, I don't prefer it. And I want an experience of a better experience for myself. Yeah.
Yeah, that is very powerful. That is very empowering. Because I think even just beyond interactions with other people, it's also just down to ourselves as human beings and the dreams that we want to say, we have the power to actualize and to become because we are made in the creator. So therefore we can be as creative as the creator. So instead of suffering because our desires are not actualizing or our dreams are not happening or we don't even know where to begin or what to do, just having that concept and that understanding that I am God means that there's universal energy out there that is making things, but then it has vested power in me to co-create with it and to have dominion over certain things.
It's very powerful.
And therefore I must, have dominion over my life and not be a passive experiencer of life. My name is Bel Sabo Ame,
I am Satani Samalagai.
and you've been watching
The Sapiosexual Platter.